Welcome back. If you're new, I'm James Salvatore, and today's a pretty exciting day because I have the all-new redesigned Mercedes S-Class here for you. And today's S-Class is the S580, which is pretty much as good as it gets right now, and this one's fully loaded. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the technical features of this car. I'm going to be going into depth on the performance, some of the luxury features of the car, as well as the tech. However, if that's not what you're looking for, be sure to check out my main highlights video where I go over the tech and all the features briefly, but then take the car out for a drive and share my thoughts on the driving experience. But back to this video, let's get right into it. The 2021 S580 marks the introduction of the 7th generation S-Class and represents the very best of what Mercedes is capable of producing. From its 4-liter bi-turbo V8 that produces 496 horsepower and 516 foot-pounds of torque, the supreme levels of comfort, and cutting-edge technological firsts in the auto industry, such as the 3D instrument gauge cluster and Burmester 40 audio system that features 31 speakers, 1750 watts of power, and new sound transducers built into every seat. The new S-Class doesn't disappoint and continues to innovate, raising the bar on the world standard of modern luxury cars. All right, now we're going to talk about the interior features. All right, right away, as soon as you get into the car, you're greeted by a 12.3-inch fully digital gauge cluster. We've grown used to this, especially in the last generation of the car. However, this takes it to the next level because this is a 3D screen. You could choose to turn it on and off if you please. However, I do like it on. The heads-up display is really taken to the next level. However, the customization with the new MBUX system is absolutely insane. Just take a look at this. So, like we were used to before, you have a few different modes. This probably won't come across on camera, but this 3D map is just something to really behold. I have not seen this in a car, and I would say that this is probably an industry first. They've added 2 touchpads. The right touchpad controls the infotainment system, and the left touchpad is what you use to control the gauge cluster. The rest is just your voice command, your volume, and your adaptive cruise control, which is amazing in these cars. The last generation of it was amazing, and I'm sure this generation's even more insane. But what I think is neat, and what's a new thing in the new MBUX, is up here, this allows you to change what you see in the heads-up display. Now, I'm not sure if this will come across. I think it is. But you have your RPMs there. I think, let's see, let's zoom in a little bit. You can see that down there. I'm going to change the various modes. You can display your speed, your augmented reality, your eco display settings. You could have your brightness settings up here. You can adjust that, or the position, brightness or position. Wow, that is just so clear. I don't know if this is coming across well on camera, but it is the best heads-up display I have ever personally seen. It's so clear and easy to read, and it's huge on the road. It's really something. And then moving on to the center console, they've kept things pretty minimalist here. Take that water bottle out, you can see, close that up. Very minimalist design overall. Only thing I'm really not a fan of in this car is the piano black plastics. I have them in my S-Class as well, and they're always very hard to keep clean, and they scratch very easily. If you have the ability to, I'd spec it without it. Just a quick opinion. But other than that, you open it up here, you can see this is the new key. Pretty cool. And you have wireless charging up here for your phone. A few USB-C ports. You could choose to do wireless Apple CarPlay or wired. You have a few more USB-C ports in the glove box here. Now, this is pretty cool. This is a 12.8-inch screen, and it pretty much controls everything. In the last gen cars, you used to have kind of like a strip for your climate control buttons and whatnot, and they've kept that kind of similar, here, because you have just a dedicated strip on the screen for that. First off, you have your dynamic mode settings. You can see that you have individual mode, Sport Plus, Comfort, Sport, and Eco, just like we are used to in the past there. One thing that is absolutely insane is this is by far the best surround view camera system I've seen on the market, period. Now, the coolest thing is if you turn the wheels, it actually turns with it. And something I personally haven't seen before is something as simple as you turn the turn signal on, it'll actually show that in the screen. How cool is that? I mean, that's just something I haven't seen yet before. You could choose the different camera angles. It'll even show, hang on, let's put it in drive here. It'll show you what way the wheels are going. You could see the rear steering in action from the camera. I mean, that's probably the most like realistic surround view camera system I've ever seen. I'm very blown away with that. Next, we're going to hit the home screen. You can see it kind of displays your map here. This is Mercedes' new map. We're going to explore the different view modes. There's a 3D mode. Okay, that's 2D. This is 3D. North, 3D mode. Let's see if they do satellite finally. Very fluid overall. I don't know why it's not loading the satellite map. It looks like it has it, but this car is brand new, so it might not be active. The internet service might not be active yet, so that might be stopping it. Radio, navigation. You have a few apps. This is pretty neat. So now you do have a dash cam. If you connect a USB drive, like, you know, that's a few hundred gigs, you could pretty much have this 3D camera system record any incident that will possibly happen. It's pretty neat because if your car gets broken into now, it will try to record the person right after it senses that something's been broken into, which is very cool overall. Definitely a nice use of those cameras. You could see here that we have comfort settings. This is where you'd find your massage seats. However, this car does not have it. It has seat kinetics, heated seat settings, nothing too excited there. Basically what seat kinetics does is it periodically moves the seat so that you don't get a strained back if you're in the car for long periods of time. Then you have 64 colors of ambient lighting. You could choose what colors you want in the cabin, the brightness, the effects. And then you go into the vehicle settings. You have heads-up display, driver settings. Then you have a snow chains mode. I've never seen that before in a Mercedes, but pretty neat. I'm guessing because it will help maximize the rear wheel steering. It'll probably let the rear wheels articulate a bit more than it does normally. And what has to be my favorite feature of the car is the Burmester 4D audio system. Now, I've tested the 3D audio system in the previous gen cars, and it was an amazing system overall. It just had such rich bass, such rich tones overall, and basically what they did was they put speakers all around the cabin, on the ceiling. You had the rotating tweeters, which this still has, and just a bunch of small subwoofers strategically placed around the car. This has that, but what this adds is something interesting. All right, so when you get to the settings of this thing, it's just so cool. So if you take a look here, you have sound profiles. You can make a personal profile, which I did earlier, and it's absolutely insane. You have the pure mode, easy listening, 3D sound, surround, and live, and they are all very different. Now the coolest thing where they add the 4D, because I was like, okay, really, why did they just rename it? That kind of sounds like Apple when they say Plus, Max, Pro, right? I thought Mercedes was doing the same thing there for a second. However, they're not. Each seat has its own adjustment, and at first I thought it was a speaker within the seat, but it's not. It's a vibrating motor that mimics the bass so that you don't only hear that pure acoustic, you don't only hear the bass, you feel it as well. So in the back of the seat, there's a motor that vibrates to the bass to make you basically feel it. And you could choose how much you want each seat to feel it, which I think is absolutely insane. And if you hit VIP seat, say if you're trying to prioritize a rear passenger, it will orient the sound best for that area. It just depends where you are. Very cool overall. We'll go into the Apple CarPlay here. You can see it's super responsive. Whatever processor they decided to use here, this is just one of the fastest, most responsive Apple CarPlay interactions I've had, period. And another quick thing to make note of is Mercedes has completely changed the window switches in general. You can see it's got just a very different, fresh design. I mean, the mirror controls are a little bit different there. What took me by surprise a little bit was these are touch sensitive now. These aren't buttons anymore. They don't actually move. They're all just touch sensitive. You know, you hit that It's a little bit to get used to. I don't really like it personally, but I get they were just trying to be different. And then one neat thing is they got rid of the old school pull-out slides for the vents. Now they're just electronically controlled. You just close them and open them like that. Pretty interesting. But then again, just want to point out again, this piano black just really gets dirty very fast. And just take a look at this detail right here. Very neat overall. Mercedes is definitely trying to modernize a lot of things. Instead of having a physical switch now, you just slide your finger along there for the shade or to open the sunroof. And they also updated MBUX a little bit. You still have their voice assistant that you've seen in the past. It's just been improved a bit. You could tell it things like raise the volume, lower the volume, turn on my massage seat, pretty much any function in the car, recline my seat a little bit. Like it'll do stuff like that. It'll pretty much do whatever you ask it. It's pretty much like Siri that's actually good in a car, because most other cars just do not have good voice command. Voice command in here is pretty good. Let's move into the rear though, because that's where it's all at in an S-Class. Moving into the rear of the S-Class, this is a special place to be. Now there's a few different levels that you can get back here, and no, this doesn't have the executive package. However, this is still very comfortable. You could recline the seat, put it back, adjust your headrest. You have a little pillow in the headrest here. Just very comfortable. As you would expect, you have plenty of leg room back here. We're not even going to go over that because that's never going to be an issue. You can control the seat in front of you. You have heated and cooled seats. You have 3-person memory seats for the rear. You can control both windows and the shades, which is nice. You have side shades, and a rear shade, which is pretty neat. You can see that pops out of there nice. It's nice and flush. You can also control the shade right overhead. Pretty nice overall. And if you spec the executive package, instead of this opening up to the trunk, this will open up to a champagne fridge. And as you see, you have a little bit of storage here in the armrest. Nothing too crazy there, but just something to get you by. But if you were spending a lot of time back here, I would definitely recommend going with the executive package, because then you get massage seats back here. You get the little footrest that comes up beneath your feet, and you get rear entertainment screens if you spec those as well, which if you have somebody driving you around, definitely worth it. If not, not so much. But that choice is up to you. Either way, sitting in the back of the S-Class is a special place to be. And then moving around to the rear, you have 13.8 cubic feet of cargo storage. And just take a look at how cool these new headlights are. This is their intelligent multi-beam LED system, and it features their new ultra-wide high beam. Pretty neat. Won't get to test it today, but I'm sure it works very well. It also has adaptive high beams, which are pretty cool because as you go along the road, they turn on and off as oncoming traffic passes by your way. And one interesting thing, when I saw the car in pictures, I thought, why did they kind of like stray away from that? Like, you know, the 2 LED strips for the E-Class, the 3 LED strips for the S-Class and whatnot. I thought they got rid of that whole, you know, thing they had going on there for a while. But if you take a look here, you'll notice that they actually still did 3 lines. It's just tightened up a bit. Nice little fun fact. And around the rear, you can see their new taillight design. They are now using OLED LEDs, which is pretty neat to see that they'd be using that in their taillights. It's got this neat 3-dimensional effect, so you can see as you have the blinker going. I mean, just take a look at how cool that is. So when the blinker's off, the brake will be displayed up here, but when the blinker's on, they use the lower section. Overall, just really cool design element there. And at night, it does give you a little bit of a welcome dance. All right, and another really cool feature of the new S-Class is they've added rear wheel steering. And if you're not familiar with what that is, the rear wheels will turn the opposite way of the front wheels to give you a tighter turning circle, which really helps in tight parking lots or, you know, just tight areas in general, seeing that this is a very, very long car. And to demonstrate that feature, we're going to show you how tight it could turn around a light pole. All right, guys, as you can see, the new S-Class is an incredible car overall. I mean, the tech is mind-blowing in this car. And, you know, the driving experience as well is amazing too. And if you haven't seen my other highlights video, be sure to check that one out, because I actually do drive the car in that video, as well as explain some of the things you've seen here. But the driving experience is something to truly behold. However, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to help me out by hitting the like button and being sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on my future videos. I review a lot of new cars from many different brands, as well as do new car comparisons, classic cars, exotics. So if that's your thing, be sure to not miss out. Before we go though, I'd like to say a special thanks to my friends down at Mercedes Benz of Fairfield, Connecticut for providing me the S-Class today to show to you guys. They're an awesome, super helpful, friendly group of people to work with. And if you're in the market for a new Mercedes or you want this car, be sure to check their website out. I'm going to leave a link to their contact information in the description below. And with that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.